In the headlines, police arrest suspected killer of retired legal officer in Delta State. Fire outbreak destroys property at Osokoro Hospital in Abuja. Kano APC crisis still not over after Court of Appeal ruling in Abuja. On the foreign scene, fresh shelling claims fuel tensions over Ukraine crisis. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Now the news in details. Suspected killer of a retired policeman in Delta State, Chukwudi Emerenin, has been arrested. Retired police officer in charge of legal department, Christian Patuma, is reportedly killed in Agua Clan, Oguta local government area of Imo State. Delta State Police Commissioner Muhammad Ali parades the suspect and other 39 suspected criminals in Asaba. He said the suspect is part of the syndicate responsible for the killing of the police officer.
One, arrest of murder suspect involved in the killing of the former Delta State Police Command, O.C. Legal. Recall that sometimes last week, the media was awash with the killing of our former O.C. Legal, who served meritoriously in this state before retiring home to his locality somewhere around Imo State. Only for us to be told that the man was killed by some unknown gunmen and had his head severed from the body. It is gratifying to state here that this command, having taken that into cognizance, have made a breakthrough as two of those suspects have been arrested, and of course have not just given us useful statement but have confessed to that crime. That they are being linked by an angry mob. Police patrol teams were quickly mobilized to the scene where the two suspects, namely Onyeka Ifeanyi M, age 19 years, of number 10 Ije Street, Agbo, and Bright Michael Kester M, age 20 years, of number 5 Idumudia Street, Agbo, were rescued from the mob and brought to the station. One cut-to-size double-barrel gun was recovered from them. Upon interrogation, they confessed to have robbed several POS operators and also confessed that their gang members were responsible for the robbery and murder of one Mary Ngozi.
The people who did that first pit, they don't hold them Imo State Police custody. Our youth to them catch them. That time I was in my village. So after them catch them finish, now I prepare to come town, come stay, no more working the work again. So as I come, me and my girlfriend, I rent a house. As I rent the house, my girlfriend from my place, but him they also follow. So I call him for food. Tell him that I was in Abo. The girl come from Olo. I see him come, buy fan, buy bed, put inside the room. So me and him just there, they manage the team. So on Saturday, me and that girl just they bar finish. As we bar finish, police people come. As they come, and I will not run. I begin to ask them, say, what thing I do? They say, when I reach station, so I will know what thing I do.
Quite tragic story there. Now, a section of the Asokoro District Hospital has been engulfed by fire Thursday. It is not yet clear if there were any casualties or what triggered the fire. Meanwhile, the fire had been put out by the Federal Fire Service. Now, factions of the All Progressives Congress APC in Kano State have reacted to the ruling of an appeal court on the parallel state party congress in the state. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the governor, Abdullahi Ganduje-led faction, sees the ruling as favorable, but the Ibrahim Shekarau faction says it is not yet Uhuru, as it will appeal the judgment it described as neutral to both parties. The report.
Court of Appeal in Abuja had earlier ruled that neither it nor the lower court has the jurisdiction to entertain the matter, considered an internal party affair. But in a swift reaction, organizing secretary of the Ibrahim Shekarau faction of the APC in Kano State, Sharif Nalungu, says they are putting machinery in motion to appeal against the position of the appellate court in respect to jurisdiction.
But in our understanding, we know this type of case happens in Zamfara, Rivers, Bauchi, and Bayelsa, and it was entertained up to the Supreme Court. That's why we are appealing against what the judgment of today said.
However, a visibly elated Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, in company of his government officials and party supporters at the party's national secretariat, hailed the judgment as a triumph of justice.
We have to thank the party, the leadership of the party, for initiating a reconciliation move so that APC in Kano State will be united.
The national leadership of the APC, through its reconciliation move, has waded into the disputed Kano and other state congresses that produce parallel executives with minimal success. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A Zamfara State High Court has adjourned sitting in a suit filed by Senator Kabiru Marafa against the ruling All Progressives Congress APC to 14th March for the mention. Senator Kabiru Marafa is challenging the illegality and exclusion of members of his faction from participating in the state congresses of the APC after they had purchased forms. The report.
Justice Bello Kucheri, after listening to both parties, adjourned the case to 14th March for extension of time for the defendants to adopt written addresses and for the plaintiff to present preliminary objections on issues raised. Lead counsel for the plaintiff, John Shaka, said members of National Working Committee of the APC, state, local government and ward levels in Zamfara State are illegal and unlawful. He claimed that the APC leadership is acting as if the party does not have a constitution, which is the guiding principle of the party affairs, which is why his client is in court to challenge them to adhere to the constitution of the party.
We consider that the APC has not been following its constitution. The APC has the constitution, but they have been disregarding the constitution in every respect. They do things as if there is no law. So, for example, an APC, a party that is seeking to contest election in a democratic situation, would now collapse all its organs, all its committees, everything that has to do with the party. There is no internal democracy. You remove all elected officials and then replace them with appointed, selected officials so that you can serve some selfish purposes. It does not allow for a level playing ground, even amongst members of the APC, before we even go to the national level. So some of the members are aggrieved that the officials at the top have taken the law into their hands. They have collapsed all the committees of the party. They have put in their own stooges so that they can now doctor the primary elections that is supposed to come.
Counsel for the APC, Shiaka Dikko, said certain applications were granted by the court and will come up at the next adjourned date. He said his client had asked for extension of time to come with application to challenge the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the case, and the plaintiff does not have the locus standi to institute a suit against the APC, as he is not a member of the National Working Committee and did not participate in the state congresses.
Well, that day there is application to be taken to challenge the jurisdiction of the court, because as defendants were bringing application challenging that the plaintiffs are not really having the locus to bring the suit before this court. So on the set 14th of March, we're going to take the application to challenge the jurisdiction of the court. Well, that's a legal term saying that the plaintiff in the person of Senator Marafa is not really having the bias in law to come before this honorable court. He is not a member of the National WC that is challenging the dissolution. Neither did he participate in the state congress that he's also challenging. That is what we meant.
All Progressives Congress, APC, in Zamfara State has been in crisis immediately Governor Bello Matawalle defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, followed by formal pronouncement of dissolution of the state's executives by the National Caretaker, Chairman Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the party, and Yobe State Governor Maimala Bunni.
Staying with legal matters, trial of Kano controversial Islamic preacher Sheikh Abdul Jabbar Kabara has resumed at Kano Upper Sharia Court, where first prosecution is re-examined on his testimony on the accusation of blasphemy against Sheikh Kabara. Sheikh Kabara is facing charges bordering on blasphemy and inciting public. Presiding Judge Sariki Yola adjourned the case for further hearing. Prosecution and defense counsels expressed satisfaction with the cross-examination of the witness.
He gave evidence and he was cross-examined. About 2 weeks ago, the defendant applied to recall the witness for further cross-examination. We objected, of course, but the court agreed that the witness should be recalled. Today, he came to court in the morning, meaning that he has been recalled, and the defendant cross-examined him. From morning till afternoon, he was cross-examining him, and he is done with him, and the court has discharged him. So that's what happened today, and the matter is adjourned to the 3rd day of March for defense to start giving evidence.
Based on our previous application, that we will appreciate it if the PW1 is recalled, which the court granted, and today we were in court. We have satisfied our conscience and the questions we expected him to answer, which to some extent he has done the little he could. And we should all know that he is not the judge. He cannot pass any evidence. So therefore we've gotten what we need. So we'll leave it until we finish our defense, then we'll leave the rest to court. We never planned of that. So we now concluded, no, we are not bringing any no-case submission. Let him come and open his defense.
Now, the Nigerian military and paramilitary formations have endorsed a proposal by the Senate to increase number of judges in Court of Appeal from 90 to 110. These formations, which threw their weight behind the bill, include the Nigerian Army, Air Force, Nigerian Correctional Service, Nigerian Customs Service, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. This comes at a public hearing in Abuja on the Court of Appeal Amendment Act 2021. The report.
Speaking during the public hearing, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahya, represented by Director of Legal Services, Army, Major General Mumbai, supported the provision of the amendments of the Appeal Court, which sought to increase the number of justices from 90 to 110, adding that the amendment is in accordance with extant laws.
Then we have the Court of Appeal, which is so crucial to us. The Court of Appeal Bill seeks to amend the Court of Appeal Act 2013 by increasing the number of justices of the Court of Appeal to from 90 to 110. Having juxtaposed the bill with the Court of Appeal Amendment Act 2013, the Nigerian Army opines that the amendment of Section 1 of the Principal Act is in accordance with extant laws, and the Nigerian Army further advocates for the appointment of retired service personnel from the legal services of the armed forces to the Court of Appeal to serve as assessors.
Earlier in his presentation, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, said the bill not only sought to increase the number of justices, but also to allow for the creation of more divisions of the court to enhance speedy dispensation of justice.
Primarily seeks to amend the Court of Appeal Amendment Act 2013 by simply increasing the number of justices of the court from the present 90 to from the present 91 and to 110 justices, to allow for creation of more divisions of the court, appointment and elevation of judges from the lower courts to the appeal court, and bring the court closer to litigants in order to ensure speedy disposal of cases and to declog the docket of the court. The court also exercises appellate jurisdiction to the exclusion of any other court of law in Nigeria over decisions of lower courts.
The bill, aside creation of more appeal courts and divisions, would also allow for the appointment and elevation of judges from the lower courts to the appeal courts.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Banker turns bread seller. Details and more shortly. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story. Thanks for staying. Now here's a look at the top stories again. Suspected killer of a retired policeman in Delta State, Chukwudi Emerenin, has been arrested. Factions of the All Progressives Congress APC in Kano State have reacted to the ruling of an appeal court on the parallel state party congress in the state. In other news, fuel scarcity is still biting harder in Borno State as Maiduguri residents complain of hike of transportation fares as the scarcity lingers despite assurance of increased supply. Filling stations are chaotic, with motorists struggling to refill their tanks. The report.
It's free flow of traffic during the day in Maiduguri metropolis. Some residents faced difficulty to get a ride to their destination, offices and place of business. The scarcity of petrol experienced in the capital city had some filling stations closed and those dispensing had long queues.
When I drove to this place, most of the petrol stations I passed near them had no fuel. So I suppose the problem will intensify. The best thing to do is the government should just quickly do what it wants to do. That is, increase the price and let people have fuel. That will make things easier for them than to just keep quiet and clearly things are not moving on fine.
Okay. I've been here since 8 o'clock. And now it's almost 3. Since 8 in the morning.
Where are you supposed to be?
I was not even able to go to office. I was supposed to go to work. I've not been to the office. I was supposed to go and pick my children around 2. Now it's to 3. They're still in school.
The official pump price of 165 naira per litre remains unchanged, but some residents complained that transport fares have tripled.
Now 15 naira we dey take keke everywhere where we go pay 15 naira. But this time around we don't really know. Our government wants to suffer, so we pay 200 naira one drop, 15 naira, 200 now, 300. Some people are paying 70 naira, and we don't know what to do. We are suffering. Government out.
We have only discharged 45,000 liters. Yesterday we sell 30,000 liters. So the only that one that we have 15,000 liters on ground. So we're starting selling 15,000 liters since in the morning. By any moment they will finish now.
Residents hope that the fuel scarcity does not last long and pray that it does not impact on price of commodities in the country.
Let's take a look at this special package. Aliyu Dahiru is a graduate with a successful banking career but decided to try his luck in the bakery industry. Dahiru dumps his banking job to hawk bread in Kaduna, and he is proud of his new job. Trust TV's Fatima Ladan meets the banker turned bread hawker.
As many graduates across the country prefer white-collar jobs, for Aliyu Dahiru, a HND holder in the field of cooperative studies and business management from Kaduna Polytechnic, the reverse is the case, as he has since found a way out for himself through bread selling after dropping his bank work. According to him, the most exciting feeling is being your own employer and having your own ample time. Aliyu narrates how his interest for the bread business aroused when Trust TV catch up on him during his daily distribution.
I work in the bank before, so when I was in the bank, I got close to one of our customers who own a bakery, who usually come to deposit money in our bank. So I asked him about the business and he told me a lot, which I tried during my annual leave.
The ban on motorcycle in Kaduna State has rendered many jobless, but for Aliyu, it has become a source of blessing as he upgraded his business from using motorcycle to a minibus.
I was using motorcycle to supply bread to my customers, but all of a sudden, there come a ban on the use of motorcycle in Kaduna State, where I had to resort hiring Keke Napep to supply bread to my customers. But Alhamdulillah, thanks to Almighty Allah for making it possible for me to buy my own car within a very short period of time. As you can see, I'm using car now to supply. That is why I'm getting more customer than before.
The father of 3 girls says he has found comfort in his new business and prefers to be self-employed for life.
I realize that I make more money, freedom, rest of mind than working in the bank. That is why I resigned my bank job and start selling bread.
Aliyu Dahiru challenged other graduates to embrace legitimate business, not minding the little profit, considering how he started and grows by the day. Fatima Salaladan, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Civil society organizations in Rivers State protest in Bori Kana local government area of the state, seeking an end to the deadly air pollution known as soot. Executive Director of Lekki Development Foundation, Friday Mbani, said the group observed that industries using fossil fuel and financial institutions in the state have not addressed the climate crisis despite decades of warnings and mounting climate impacts in the state. The report.
Rivers State government had declared war on illegal bunkering to address the impact of the soot. Friday Mbani and other protesters said despite Governor Nyesom Wike's directive to clamp down illegal bunkering activities, the soot still in the air as government failed to make policies that will stop all activities. They noted that the air pollution had led so many indigents of Rivers and Niger Delta to their early grave.
Climate change and environmental degradation have and will continue to have an advanced impact on the full and effective enjoyment of human rights, such as the right to life, like I just said, health and safe drinking water, sanitation and so on, and adequate houses to a standard living, if not addressed. And that's why we carry out this campaign today to ensure that this is being curtailed and being addressed by the legislature, the people in power.
We want government to really come out to end black suits. It's not enough sitting down in your offices. It's not enough to come on air today to say you're chasing guys who are into illegal bunkering. What of the gas flaring from companies operating in Rivers State? What happens to them? They're not saying anything concerning these companies because they have some benefits, some derivative they have from these companies, so they don't want to talk to the companies. So their concentration is on these boys because they are not getting any returns from them. So government should not be biased.
As it stands now, this black soot is really having effects on the people. It's really having effects on our respiratory systems. It's really having effects on our internal organs, and it's not good for the well-being of a human being. So please, the government should come out to this plea, and every form of black soot, every activities that have been going on underground or in the open, it should be stopped.
We need healthy environments. For instance, environments where they are doing bunkering, it will not be good for us to live in that environment because we cannot breathe well, we cannot be comfortable, illness everywhere. I think that should stop.
It's the climate change and the black suit affects everybody, even if you might not notice it because it's a long-term something. It's something that will affect you definitely in one way or the other. It is a confirmed source of cancer. People get cancer from these black soot emissions, and environmental degradation has been something that would not be okay for us as humans. It can lead to human extinction in the long term. So it's something that affects me.
We organize this awareness campaign and to mobilize the young people to avoid the illegal activities that create this scenario for us to live in the peaceful environment and to protect our environment.
The group wants effective regulatory measures to protect humans from harm caused by greenhouse gas emissions, with a call on government to hold businesses accountable for their climate impacts.
On the foreign scene, Ukrainian government forces and Russian-backed separatists in the country's east have traded fresh accusations of shelling and other ceasefire violations as fears rise that Moscow may be poised to launch an imminent invasion mount. The self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic said shelling targeted the rebel-held village of Potresk in the early hours of Friday, while the so-called Luhansk People's Republic claimed that there had been several incidents of mortar fire. For its part, Ukraine's government said the separatists had fired artillery or mortars 4 times on Friday. Kyiv and rebels have been at war in the Donbas region for 8 years, and the ceasefire between the sides is routinely violated, but the intensity of fighting increased notably this week amid warnings from the United States and its allies that Moscow may be attempting to stage a pretext to attack Ukraine. Meanwhile, Western leaders say the Kremlin cannot be allowed an effective veto on Kyiv's foreign policy decisions and have defended NATO's open-door policy. And with that, we wrap up Trust News Update, but you can connect with us via our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch us live. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.